Hello everyone, I'm Justin Rochuar. Have you ever noticed that we have been conditioned to merely accept certain things as normal, be it good, bad, or ugly? Even more, we accept those things without examination, questioning, or research. As a common sensist, I would like to share with you a few thoughts about how we, without careful consideration, have accepted the status quo. Join me on this journey to discover the obvious being hidden in plain sight, how certain things have not really changed at all, but instead have taken on a different form, camouflaged to produce the illusion of freedom and prosperity. You see, in one form or another, most of us are engaged in productive activities, be it as employees, blue collar or white collar, where we trade our time for money. Independent service providers, where we charge for our services, or even running our own businesses. Regardless of what we do, out of the money we make, we pay roughly 40% of our income in taxes. You may be thinking that this is not true, because there is no such thing as a 40% tax bracket. Well, if you are thinking this, I encourage you to do a couple of things. First, to search online for Tax Freedom Day. Tax Freedom Day is defined as the day of the year when you've made enough money to pay your taxes. There is a non-profit organization called the Tax Foundation that calculates this day based on updated tax legislation. By their calculation, the Tax Freedom Day is sometime at the end of April. That means that all the money that you make from January 1st until the end of April goes to cover your taxes. That's almost 4 months out of 12. The second thing I would encourage you to do is to think about all the other taxes that you pay, directly or indirectly, on your property, on your car, like for instance gas, roads, or even license plate tabs, all the sales taxes, fees that your city charges for street cleaning and snow plowing, environmental fees charged by the water and waste collection companies, and you will find that the aggregate will reach, if not exceed, 40%. And that applies everywhere in the world. By the way, Americans complain about high taxes, but they should not forget that all European countries have something called value-added tax, that works like a sales tax for all consumers. The value-added tax varies from country to country and may be lower on food and other necessities. But still, we talk about 20 to 25% on everything you buy, some places even higher. So, by saying that the total tax burden on each individual is around 40% no matter where we are and what we do, we are indeed not far from the real fact. Now let's translate this into everyday life and report it to a 5-day work week. Keeping in mind that 40% of your income goes to taxes, that means that when the week starts, you spend Monday and Tuesday working to pay the government. So you come home Tuesday evening exhausted, thinking to yourself that you can plop down on the couch. A large pizza and a beer would really hit the spot. Which is certainly a legitimate desire after all that hard work, you think. But yet, you fail to realize that you have not made enough to pay for that pizza and beer. Well, I'll get it tomorrow, you say to yourself. Wednesday morning arrives, and for a moment, those thoughts of pizza and beer linger, but are soon overshadowed with the sudden realization that your mortgage note is now due. Great, you think, but not really. You can't help but kick yourself when you recall how you were suckered by that devious mortgage broker who was just doing his job to wring you as tight as possible and leave you hanging out to dry, who mentally forced you into signing a home loan for more than what you could afford. Oh yes, that $200,000 home would have been plenty enough. But you couldn't keep your eyes off the Joneses, or maybe the housewives on TV, who, by the way, all will lead you into a pit of despair, anguish, and mental turmoil. This road led you to the false sense of belief that you actually deserve this home. That is because you work so hard for it. It was 100,000 over your budget, but because the bank said you could afford it, and who knows better than the bank, right? You took it all in. Line, pole, fisherman, boots, and hat. And boat. The fact that you are shocked that the broker agreed to this absurd nonsense should have been a clear indication that signing your John Hancock on a contract obligating you to pay until the day of your death for a home that you can afford would constitute borderline insanity. Yeah, not so smart. And if you didn't know, now you know that the word mortgage has its origin in French language, where mort, M-O-R-T, means dead. So mortgage is nothing more but a pledge to pay until you die. And when it was all said and done, your heart jumped. Oh, hallelujah! Thank you, Jesus. Look what the Lord has done. That's great favor. Yes, favor for the bank. You see, the bank did not have to do lick of extra work to get you to pay them 100,000 more in interest over 30 years, which makes their pockets deeper and fatter. Now the bank owns the house, owns your time, and in turn, the only thing you own is your obligation to pay. And pay you shall. You shall pay big, 1/3 of your income to be exact. That's what the bank is qualifying you for, a mortgage, the pledge to pay, 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 until you die. 1/3 out of 5 days, so wave goodbye to 1.5 days of your working week. In other words, you work all of Wednesday and half a day on Thursday to pay for your nest, and of course the privilege of being next to the Joneses. So here you are, Thursday at 1 p.m., slaving away at work when your cube mate comes back from lunch. You wanted you could join him, but you couldn't because you haven't made any money for yourself yet. He stops by to ask you how you like your new vehicle. Oh, it's great, you exclaim, with a smug, boastful, and proud look. It's so spacious that even my mother-in-law looks forward to taking a ride in it. You can hardly hear the engine running. The leather seats are so soft and comfy, and the stereo system sounds like heavenly music to my ears. In other words, if it had wings, it would fly, and if it had a propeller, it would be like an ocean liner. You must have gotten a good deal, your body says. Oh yes, you reply, a fantastic deal. It was no money down, just small payments for the next 7 years. Which is another lifetime, in dog years, but why would that matter? It is as good as paying cash. So you think. But actually, that small payment means that you must work on Thursday from 1 p.m. to the end of the day in order to pay for it. Thursday evening you come home tired and exhausted as usual. And what can you show for it? Thus far you have worked 4 days only to pay your taxes, your mortgage, and your shiny car. To be fair, there is actually a small equity gain in your home, attractive enough for the bank to offer you another credit option later on. And you think, what a great time for a pizza and a cold beer. But unfortunately, you still have not made the money to pay for it. Well, thank God it's Friday morning. The sun is shining and the birds are out. But most importantly, your taxes are paid, your home is paid, your car is paid. Now you can start taking care of yourself and your loved ones. Or can you? Let's see. Do you have any student loans from the 8 years you spent in college getting a master's in nonsense ecology with a minor in basket weaving? Do you have credit card debt for the 355-inch television screen you so desperately needed and for all the set-it-and-forget-it gadgets that you never use but you have to rent a storage unit for? A home equity loan to pay for that vacation to Hawaii 4 years ago? Or other debt obligations? If not, great. You can start working for your benefit. Before that, remember you still need to pay your bills. You know, things like electricity and gas, water and sewage, trash, cable, phone, internet, insurance to cover any losses or damages to your home and cars, and to cover for any health issues that stem from all the stress of this work and no play, home security to protect that big and expensive house, school supplies, including the latest gadgets for kids, treats and vet bills for Fido, food, clothes, and shoes. After looking at this list, you may wonder how some people still talk about disposable income. You know, money you can spend on things that are fun to do. But there is no reason to be sad, because now it's your pizza and beer time. And you have the magnificent pleasure of sitting on your pristine deck, overlooking your well-manicured lawn, enjoying the sights, sound, and smells from across the fence, where the Joneses just invited some friends to test their new state-of-the-art grill.
Wow!
Wow.
A new grill? Oh, that's exactly what you need. How are you gonna pay for it? Well, of course you can use a credit card. On a side note, but this is something you know already, the banks stretch you with your mortgage because they know that you don't want to be kicked out of your house. You will pay the mortgage, and when you will want the grill, you get it by charging on the card. And why would you even care about the 18% interest? Now you feel good, you enjoy your beer and your pizza, and equally important, the Joneses are not one step ahead anymore. How long can it go? Probably not too long, because things add up quickly, and as the time goes, an ever-increasing share of your remaining working time will go to cover the card payments. Of course, my dear friends, all this may seem like an overly dramatized version of our lives. Still, if we carefully observe our reality, it leads me to believe that most of us have been trapped in a very subtle transition. I wonder if somebody, we'll call them the elites for now, had a great revelation 100 and some years ago. Perhaps they were considering this situation and thought something like, we have slaves, but we have some issues with slavery. First, it is a moral issue. If we indeed believe that all humans are equal, the fact that some humans own other humans is not right. Second is a racial issue, because one race are the masters and one race are the slaves. That's not right either. But thirdly, and maybe most importantly, it is an economic issue. That is, we love reaping the benefits of the slaves working 6 days a week for us, but we have to provide them daily with shelter, food, and clothing. If they get sick, we have to take care of them. And on Sunday, we have to tell them about the great life awaiting for them in heaven, and maybe entertain them a little bit so the misery we're giving them here on earth becomes more bearable. So we have three major issues. Why don't we do something smarter? They pondered. Let us engage everybody across the entire world, not only blacks, but whites, Asians, Indians, or whatever other ethnicity they belong to, and whatever skin color they may have. By engaging everybody, we get rid of the racial issue. Then, in order to get rid of the economic issue, we create and promote a system that makes them work for us 4 days a week instead of 6. How do we do it? First, by creating a tax code that is so confusing that they won't be able to cope with it without professional help. Second, we will build a financial system based on credit that charges them interest for everything they buy. We'll have them work for us for 4 days, and after that, we let them work for themselves for the rest of the week, so they can take care of their own shelter, own food, their own clothes, and their own medical treatment. And whatever they do in the weekends, go to church or get drunk, let them pay for it. Hopefully, they will use a credit card so we can charge them some more interest. In this way, we get rid of the economic issue. We will let them choose their master and plantation. Choosing the master means that they can choose the bank they borrow from, and choosing the plantation means that they can choose the corporation they are employed by or the business they are running. In doing so, we give them the feeling of liberty. And we will of course give them access to goods, so they can have the feeling of prosperity. Finally, in order to get rid of the moral issue, we'll have to call it something else. And well, because slavery is such a bad word, let's call it middle class. And this, my friends, was the great revelation of the elites. And now, most of us are indeed participants in this subtle transition from slavery to the middle class. We may hear about the fierce competition between financial institutions, but this is also a modified truth. The competition is not between banks. The fierce competition encompasses keeping budgets, meeting targets, and get as many fees as possible. Who competes for all these? Not the banks, but the bank employees. That would be people like you, like me, like your cousin Vinny, or even the Joneses. Those of us who are proud to be part of, yes, the middle class. So, what needs to be done? One of the most valuable resources we have, if not the most valuable, is time. Time is the only resource in the world that is evenly distributed. Therefore, you have to appreciate it accordingly. While there are limited things you can do about the taxes you pay, there is very much you can do about using your time wisely, so you do not end up spending most of your life servicing debt. You may still end up working Monday and Tuesday to pay your taxes, but you can work the rest of the week for the benefit of yourself and your loved ones, as well as for helping others. I am confident you will find some useful ideas in my book, Wealth Maker or Wishful Thinker. In the book, I argue that wealth is available to everyone regardless of where we are or our starting point in life. Wealth is available because we all have access to creativity, time, knowledge, and opportunities. Wealth is not about how much money you have, nor about how much you saved for retirement. Wealth is, however, about possessing assets that constantly generate income, so you can enjoy life and not only help, but also impact the life of others. You will find my book on Amazon, together with a couple other smaller books that I wrote in a series called Common Sense Answers to Everyday Questions. These books will help you to get from where you are to where you want to be. Or you can visit my webpage, masteringthehumanexperience.com. There you will find a free downloadable PDF of my Common Sense Cash Overflow model. This is a short, easy to understand illustration, minus the technical jargon, on how you need to control your money. If you understand and apply these principles, you will set yourself on course to becoming a wealth maker, not just a wishful thinker. Thank you for watching, and God bless.